long before borders were drawn on African soil, before Europeans divided the continent with rulers and ink. People moved like water, ancient, proud, and resilient. They were the Luo, descendants of the Nile, not just a tribe, but a river-blooded nation. One of the great Nilotic peoples, children of the river, storytellers of time, warriors of both spear and word. But who are the Luo, really? To understand them, we must follow the river back to its source. In the green banks of Bahr el Ghazal, South Sudan, the earliest known Luo clans lived peacefully. These were river people, born from a land where reeds whispered prophecy and canoes sliced through the silence like arrows of destiny. They spoke not just with tongues, but with drums, with cattle bells, with names that carried meaning deeper than time. The Luo are descendants of the Nilotic peoples, tall, resilient, pastoral linguistic travelers, who moved with the flow of rivers and the pull of stars. They were not lost wanderers. They were navigators of spirit and survival. They came from the swamps and rivers of Bahr el Ghazal, guided not by maps, but by a deep ancestral memory. In the 15th century, calamity struck, wave after wave. Droughts scorched the land. Strange diseases swept through animals and people alike. The skies turned cruel and the earth no longer answered their hunger. Pressures from the fierce Gala tribes to the east, and bitter conflicts from within, broke what unity remained. And so, the Great Dispersal began. Some drifted north, becoming the mighty Shilluk. Others journeyed east to form the Anuak. Still more wandered through the highlands, slipping past the Agoro Hills and into northern Uganda. But the heart of the Luo, the main group, followed the Nile southward, step by step, until they came to Pubungu, near modern-day Pakwach. There, at the meeting place of waters and destiny, their story would take root. But every migration has a spark. At Pubungu, beside the Nile's restless waters, the people rested. But peace was short-lived. Leadership passed into the hands of a great patriarch, Oluwum, whose sons would soon reshape the fate of their people. Oluwum had two sons, Labongo and Gipi. One day, Labongo's spear, a weapon of great significance, was borrowed and lost by Gipi. The loss of such a symbol was not just clumsiness, it was a shame, an affront. Labongo demanded its return. Gipi, desperate to prove his worth, braved the wilds and retrieved the spear, but at great cost. Time passed, but bitterness does not die easily. In a cruel twist, one of Labongo's children swallowed Gipi's precious beads, heirlooms that could not be replaced. Gipi, cold with vengeance, ordered the child cut open to retrieve the beads. A child. For beads. The clan watched in horror. That was the breaking point. Two brothers, one wound too deep. Labongo, weary of blood and betrayal, gathered his people and turned east, toward the highlands and grasslands of what is now Gulu in northern Uganda. There, his lineage laid roots, and from his line emerged a proud people, the Acholi. Gipi, grief burned in his chest. Fury tightened his grip. He marched west, beyond the Nile, into the lands we now call West Nile and part of Congo. His descendants became the Alu, fierce, resilient, and shaped by sorrow. But the river of Luo migration did not flow in one direction. From Pubungu, another group broke away, a quieter movement, but one that would reshape the very politics of a future kingdom. They journeyed south, settling in the region now known as Pawi, where today the Bagungu people dwell. Among them was a smaller, ambitious clan, the Biito Luo. Their leader, Isingoma Mpuga Rukidi, a name that would echo through time. They did not come with war or conquest. They came with tact, and in Bunyoro they settled peacefully. Rukidi and his followers merged Luo traditions with local customs, and from this fusion, a new dynasty was born, the Babiito dynasty, a ruling class with Luo blood in their veins, but power drawn from the throne of a new kingdom, Bunyoro Kitara. By the dawn of the 18th century, the bigger group of Luo had firmly rooted themselves in the heartlands of Acholi. But they were not alone. There they encountered an older presence, the Lango, who had lived in Acholi for nearly 2 centuries before. Two mighty cultures met on the same soil, and soon tension rose. The clashes pushed the Lango southward, toward the wetlands of Lake Kyoga. But even in separation, the two peoples remained bound by blood and proximity. The Acholi and Lango continued to trade, marry, and share language. And slowly, the Lango shed pieces of their old identity. They let go of their Ateke tongue and adopted the Luo language. And so, in the great mosaic of East Africa, another thread was woven, blending language, culture, and blood. But as the great Luo dispersal unfolded, not all took the same path. One group settled among the rolling hills of southeastern Uganda. They became known as the Japa Dola, people of the South. They held on to their language, Dapa Dola, and preserved their Luo roots amidst Bantu neighbors. Further east, along the swampy banks of Lake Kyoga, another branch emerged, the Kumam. Though they later absorbed elements of the Ateke culture, the blood of the Luo still flowed through their veins. These communities, the Padola, the Kumam, and others, remained anchored in Uganda, but a bold group, the Jo Luo, pressed further south. They were restless, visionary, carried by the echoes of ancestral prophecy. At their helm was a legendary leader, Ramogi Ajwang. Guided by ancestral wisdom and the memory of Nile waters, he led his people across the savannas, past mountains, rivers, and dense forests, into the lush hills of what is now western Kenya. Their footsteps finally halted at a sacred place, a hill rich with memory and spirit, Ramogi Hills. And there, the Jo Luo declared, "This is home." When the Jo Luo reached the shores of a vast lake, the water seemed to go on forever. They called it Nam Lo Lue. Today it is known as Lake Victoria. But to the Luo, it was more than a lake. It was memory. It was fish, fertility, family. Here, under Ramogi Ajwang's leadership, the clans settled. In Sakwa, Alego, Asembo, Uyoma, Karachuonyo. The clans spread. Joko Owinj, Jokanyanam, Joka Rachwonyo. They were fishermen, farmers, blacksmiths, poets. They built homesteads. Dala, ruled not by kings but clan elders, Ruoth. Justice came from consensus, leadership from wisdom. Age was the crown. And their language? Doluo, a song in itself, a tongue of the Nile soaked in metaphors, rich in orature. Luo society was a tapestry of clans, each tracing descent through patriarchal lineage but deeply respectful of maternal ties. Marriage was not just between lovers but families. Clans married outside themselves, a practice of exogamy, ensuring diversity and preventing inbreeding. Dowries were paid in cattle, not bought, but given, a gesture of respect. Naming ceremonies, tooth removal rites, and bull sacrifices marked life's milestones. Spirituality was rooted in the sky and the grave. They believed in Juk, the creator spirit, and honored ancestors through Tero Buru, death rites, Kira, curse, taboo, and sacred dances. Women were the heartbeat of the home. Men, the voice of the clan. Children, the future of the ancestors. Children learned from fireside tales, not from scrolls. Wisdom passed from lips to hearts. A Luo name is never random. It tells the hour of birth, the season, the weather, the circumstances. Omondi, born in the morning. Atieno, born at night. Odiambo, born in the evening. Each child is a timekeeper of history. They lived with pride and unity. Then came the British. Drawn by the railway, the Lunatic Express, they entered Luo lands not with dialogue, but with guns. In 1896, British forces aided the Wanga Kingdom against the Luo. Hundreds died. More perished in cattle raids led by Sir Charles Hobley. The elders, seeing the bloodshed, chose survival. They negotiated. They adapted. By the early 1900s, colonial chiefs replaced traditional Ruoth. Luo youth were recruited into colonial schools, missions, and labor. But not all bowed. Ochieng Ger fought with fire. Oginga Odinga fought with wit, founding Lutatco, printing radical papers, educating his people. Tom Mboya, son of Rusinga Island, became a trade unionist, Pan-Africanist, and a martyr. And from the dusty paths of Kogelo, the bloodline of Barack Obama would one day rise to global heights. But even beyond the borders of Kenya, the Luo journey continued. A determined group carrying the fire of Ramogi and the memory of Nile waters pressed further south into what is now northern Tanzania. There, in the heart of the Mara region, they found a new home.